At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Steven, I just finished yoga for the 5th day in a row, and before class I heard a girl say to someone, "Have a good practice," and I was like, what are you guys practicing for? Competition? They're like, no, it's a good practice. You practice. We don't like competition. And I'm like, I like competition. I'm not practicing. I want to win. You don't want to win, do you? You're a hipster. You're a hipster, are you? You're a yoga hipster. That's right. You don't like playing competitions. I do. They don't like competition, Steven. I'm going to win a yoga competition. I don't know what that is. Google yoga competition. While you're at it, Google nude yoga. You're welcome.
Steven, have you ever tried yoga?
I have not, but I will say the T25 stretch session is basically doing yoga.
Could you imagine hot yoga?
No.
100 degrees?
We've talked about this before. I would die. I would be a puddle on the ground. Literally.
Yeah, but so
I'd be a melting snowman.
I did yoga 5 days in a row. It was like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Nope. It was like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. What's today? Thursday?
All day.
Yeah. Yeah. So yesterday I had bowling, so I didn't go, but I did yoga 5 days in a row, and I'm doing the hot yoga. I've got a membership to go, and it's interesting, right? Like, I'm not a yogi. I'm not one of these people who's like, oh, I just feel so amazing every time I leave yoga. It's just so great.
I mean, it probably does feel amazing, right?
So when I do leave, I do feel calmer because I am relaxing in shavasana at the end, which you told your wife that I told you what my favorite position was, and then she said what it was.
She laughed and she's like, that's like the easiest thing. You're just laying on the ground.
Exactly.
I didn't know what it was, and I didn't realize you were joking.
Yeah, well, that's why. But that's my favorite at the very end. For those that don't know, at the very end of yoga, like 10 minutes left or so, they do this thing called shavasana, where you lay down and you kind of disappear from the world, because it feels like I do end up dreaming and I do pass out. I am gone in that 10 minutes. It's like your brain just goes away. And so but I keep dreaming about weird shit. It's interesting. But the other day, the girl was like, practice. She's like, have a great practice, just like the voicemail said. And I just looked at her. It's like, really? Like, practice? I'm like, when's the practice?
Well, why do they call it practice?
Because you're perfecting your practice. It's a continual personal practice of yoga. So you're practicing at your own. So they always do this bullshit millennial safety bullshit where it's like, you can take any kind of rest that you want. You don't have to listen to what I'm saying. You can do whatever your practice is telling you to do. I am simply here as a guide. And if you feel that your practice needs more laying in shavasana, then do it. It's totally fine. And for me, it would be like if you're at football camp, which I've never been to football camp, but it'd be like, you don't listen to me, you're done. Go run laps. You follow what I say and you do what I say. But here in yoga, everything is all about it's okay. If you need more time, that's okay.
It's a welcoming
your
atmosphere,
practice.
Jared.
It is, but my favorite
Welcome
is when
to
girls,
2023.
Right. So I'm liking it for the fact that I've said it before that I like it as a free calorie burn. I like working out. It's another form of sweating that helps me burn calories. I like cupcakes, but it's not really about allowing me to eat cupcakes. It's just extra calorie burn, and I feel really good after, and then I go to dinner. And so I do sweat through everything. You would be like insane there, but it's been good. Like, is my stretching getting better? I don't know. But the other day, the teacher was like, nice job, Jared, right? In a class of 58, she was like, my chair was really good. It was like this, Steven. Like this. You guys can't see this, but Steven, chair is where you sit back and you put your butt back and you sit down low. I was getting super low. These other people, they weren't getting low. I was getting low, and you hold it there. And then they're like, take another breath. And then they like say, sit deeper into it. And she noticed it. She was like, nice job,
She noticed
Jared.
that booty. That's what she noticed.
She probably did notice that booty. But look.
Did she give you like a little scratch and sniff 5-star sticker?
No. First off,
Good job, Jared.
I'm wearing my yoga pants and I'm wearing shorts on top because I'm not self-conscious about my package or anything, I would prefer to be like the girls. Look, their boobs are hanging out, so why can't my junk be hanging out?
Will it be hanging out though?
It's super tight, held close to my body, so much so that you're like, is this guy even a man? What are his pronouns?
You said it, not me.
Sorry, what are their pronouns? I almost messed it up. Speaking of pronouns, I'll come back to yoga in a second. I thought my joke was a very apt joke in Photo News Fix about the crayon, and I called them Mr., and they corrected me. Someone called me a boomer in the comments, and it was like, see, that's the exact bullshit comment that it is, that you're offended that I made a joke that poked something or brought light to pronouns. If you can't handle a joke, get out of the fucking kitchen. Clearly it's a joke. And my whole thing is bringing attention to that. We've talked about this, that in this climate and in this day and age, we take extreme care in trying not to misgender someone at this point, because we've been made aware this was never a thing when we were growing up. So it takes some time to adapt to it. And I've fully adapted to the entire process of it. And I'm more cognizant of when I'm talking to like a little kid, or not to a little kid, that you're not like, oh, your little boy is so cute, right? You're like, oh, they are so cute. Because when a kid's 2, you can't tell with the long hair whether it's a boy or girl. And no one should take offense to it.
Who cares is my thing.
Exactly.
Who cares? You simply thought he was a boy by accident. He's 2 years old. He's not going to remember this.
Do you know what's funny, though? I watched this show called Working Moms. It's a Canadian show, and it's on season 7 because it's actually funny. And this woman is funny. And she does some stuff. And there was something about misgendering where a mother got upset. Now, look, this woman's a comedian, and she says funny things. And it's a good show. It's one of my lunch shows because it's only 30 minutes long. And she says something like, a woman pulls up and says, your daughter misgendered my son in school. And we're talking about like 7-year-olds, right? Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, maybe if you got the fucking kid a haircut, no one would mistake him for something, And she's like, yeah, it's true. He looks like a girl. What do you want me to tell you? And so it was just kind of funny because it's like, don't get offended by it.
Exactly.
So anyway, I thought the joke was funny. Dan didn't actually get upset. Dan thought the joke was funny too.
Dan's usually the first one that'll be like, it's a little on the edge. I don't know,
It wasn't. It was me saying, if you don't call someone Mr., call them they, them, and let them correct you. Anyway, whatever. Yeah.
My favorite, by the way, is when you're watching Fix Back by yourself and you're laughing at your own jokes. Like laughing out loud.
Well, it's when I'm showing you the joke.
Hitting your desk like, wasn't that funny?
Yeah, no, I'm hitting my chair.
I'm doing my chair, yeah.
Yeah. So it was like, I'll show Steven the joke, or I'll read the joke to someone because I think it's funny.
For me to hear it.
And I'm like, that's funny, right? He's like,
yeah.
No. And I'm like, that's funny, Steven.
It's funny.
I know what funny is.
Oh, yeah. I'm not like laughing out loud funny, though.
I am. Anyway, back to yoga. I bring up the whole practice thing because I heard the girl say, practice to the other girl, have a great practice. And I said to the girl next to me, who did have on kind of aviator 1980 glasses, but the clear frame one, the clear glass ones, You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yep.
She had a whole bunch of tattoos. She had a mullet, and she didn't have underarm hair from what I noticed. So there wasn't that. But I'm like, practice? I'm like, are we training for something? Is there a competition? She's like, that's exactly what I like about yoga, is that it's not a competition and I can do it. I'm like, that's bullshit. I'm like, everything's a competition. I'm competing with myself to get better. I did this rock and roll. There was this girl at yoga, and then we'll move on.
You are a yoga instructor's worst nightmare, I feel like.
I'm not, Steven.
You're the one that's going to question everything.
I'm not, Steven, because I made the very conscious decision day one of yoga, not going to laugh, not gonna make jokes, not gonna interrupt,
be that guy,
not gonna do any of that dumb shit.
Good.
And I'm gonna let
You're
go.
Practice.
But sometimes when they say these things and I don't know what they are, like do flying lotus, kicking dragon, and I'm like, dude,
Dragon Ball Z.
Is that? And I have to look around, or they say do something, and I'm like, what do you mean by that? Because there's really no instruction there. They're just working you through the power flow.
I assume you're in a mirrored room, right?
There's no mirrors.
Really?
No.
Huh. Just so
there's
you can
a lot of
easily see
people.
what everyone's doing instead of having to physically look around. I feel like usually those classes are in a mirrored room.
No, I look around because I want to see what, guys in yoga pants and see how they look. I'm just kidding. There was this.
I'm just saying most gym classes and stuff like that usually are in a mirrored room, so you can easily see what the exercise is and what you have to do. And
yeah, but there's like 50 some people in the room at times, so all you need to do is just look around to
same
someone.
at a gym, yeah.
Yeah, but you're throughout anyway. Whatever. No, you just have to look up, and if you do look up when cat cow is going on, oh boy!
Hey-o.
If you have someone in front of you with tight yoga pants on, I have to divert my eyes elsewhere so that they don't think that I'm looking, because I'm not. I mean, I am, but I'm not, because I'm there to focus on yoga first and foremost. And then second, if there's an opportunity to talk to someone, I'm going to talk to them. But no, I mean.
So is this going to be part of the podcast every week, your daily yoga talk?
No,
Thank God.
it's not. It's not. But let me finish. This girl next to me did this move, and I looked at her and I'm like, "You can do that?"
Oh.
I was like, "You're allowed to. You can. That's a move." She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, I'm going to try that. So basically you start on your back and then you rock and roll forward onto your tuchus. And what you do is you plant your hands and your feet and legs come up and you quickly kick them back into like low plank. And you do it all in one move, and it's a strength thing. So I did it and I was like, that's cool. Thank you. So yeah, I was competing with myself.
Cool. You always
are.
You're always competing with yourself, I feel like.
Right, I want to do well.
Yeah,
and everything's a competition, and
it's a
yoga is a
good thing
competition.
and a bad thing, I'd say.
Yeah, whatever. Anyways, you went shopping this weekend. Speaking of competitions,
I did. Yeah, it was a baby weekend for sure. We went shopping for the crib, the dresser, the entire bedroom set for her nursery, and I will say there's a million different cribs out there. It's quite insane.
What'd you end up with?
So we went to this place called the Baby Supermart. It's in Broomall, PA or something like that. It was a good hour away from me, but it's supposed to be the largest crib display in the USA, which I don't know how they say that, or how do they know that for sure? Because it really wasn't that big of a warehouse, I'll tell you that.
Really? Did you need to go there? You couldn't just go to like Babies R Us or something?
Oh, we went to all the local ones already.
You didn't like their crib selection?
Well, they only had like maybe 10 on display.
I mean, Steven, what kind of crib do you need? The best of the best?
Yeah. Do you know who I am?
And what makes the best crib anyway? Do they still have bars in them for kids to get their heads stuck in?
They have bars, but they're not giant bars, you know? They're maybe like 2 inches
when
apart, something like that. But this place had, I don't know, 40 cribs on display maybe. And every baby store we went around here had 5 or 6, maybe 7.
Did you test them out?
I jumped in there, tested it out myself, went in the fetus position and everything. It was great. No, but we probably looked at 30 of them that day, and there are so many different variations of cribs. It's mind-blowing. But at first, my wife wanted to get, she's all about like the vintage era type of, look for furniture and stuff, which I am not a huge fan of.
No, it's ugly.
But at this point, I'm kind of like, whatever you want. Don't really care that much. It's a crib and a dresser and a nursery set. It's not the end of the world. I'm not going to fight you on it. Anyway, we kind of both settled on this one set, and one of the employees there was kind of like, you know what you should do is take a look. If you think that's the set, take a mental note and then go sit on some of the gliders, take a beat, and then come back and have fresh eyes and look at it again. Because a lot of times people will think that's a set and then they'll come back and be like, actually, I don't like that at all. And that's exactly what happened, thankfully, because I really didn't like that set to begin with. So we went and sat in the gliders, came back, and she's like, I actually don't really like it. And we went with the one that I kind of liked more. Just a standard kind of distressed wood look crib and dresser and nightstand.
Are they going to like it?
They are going to love it, yes. The biggest thing for me, though, was the glider. I did not want to skimp out on that. It's, the one we actually picked out was a motorized recliner. It's got the built-in side pillows. It's got USB-C ports. I made sure it wasn't just USB-A.
What do you need USB-C ports? You're supposed to be breastfeeding the baby, not checking your TikTok. I could see this right now. I could see it, Steven. Hold on. Let me get my baby. Let me take my shirt off. Let me expose my nipples for the baby. Okay, here we go. Latch on. TikTok. I'm watching TikTok. You should be focused on the baby sucking your tit.
Or you could just be rocking the baby and not feeding the baby.
Wah, I'm sorry. Oh, back in 1829 when you were rocking your kid there in a wooden chair, you're like, oh, God damn it. Jebediah fell asleep and now I can't get on my phone to check my programs.
I can't read my newspaper.
God damn it. What am I going to do now? Jebediah's asleep.
But that's something, again, I didn't want to skimp out on. I wanted to get pretty much the best one in the room. It was considered their best seller as well. I mean, it was the comfiest one. I sat in every single one. I took the most amount of time to find out which glider was the best. The crib wasn't that hard to pick out, but the glider I thought was. So all that stuff should be coming in, I don't know, 2-3 weeks, end of May. And they actually will come to your house, deliver it, and set it up for you for, I think it was like $150 or $200. I'm like, that's a steal. You guys are like an hour away. I'm not going to drive an hour, pick it up in my sedan, which it probably won't even fit, and then try and attempt to put it all together back here.
Exactly, Steven.
But the other thing too is all of these cribs, which I wasn't aware of because I don't have a kid at all, but they all can turn into like a toddler bed or a full-size bed. They have these.
So it's like a transformer.
They have these conversion kits that you can buy, but they're like, $200 for the full bed conversion kit or $100 for the toddler kit. So basically you can use this crib set up until they're, 10 years old or whatever it may be, or even longer than that. The thing about the conversion kits though, is you have to pretty much buy them right then and there, because what if that specific crib gets discontinued down the road, then you can't buy that specific conversion kit for that bed. But at the same time, what if you just never use that crib after 2-3 years and you'd end up buying a whole new full-size bed or whatever it may be? So you're kind of taking a risk and a gamble buying that conversion kit from day one.
I got you.
And what I liked about this specific place, and again, not sponsored, there's no money truck backing up for this place. These guys were not commission-based, clearly, because no one was following you around the room. No one was trying to hunt you down for a sale. When we did know what we wanted to buy, I went to the original person who helped us out, the original sales guy, and he's like, oh, just ask whoever. Go to the front desk, and they'll check you out. Like, he didn't have to say, like, you have to put my name down or anything like that. They weren't pushing you on certain cribs to buy. Any questions you had, they had answers for them. And even if it was like a dumb new parent question, which I had plenty of them, this place I highly recommend. And then Sunday came, the next day, this was all Saturday, we had to clean out the room for her nursery, and that was just a nightmare because basically that was our long-term storage unit for when we first moved in. We just kind of threw everything in there that didn't really have a place in our house, and it's been 4 years now. That room has not really been walked into at all. The good thing about that is the carpet is essentially brand new. Don't do anything there. Really, the only thing we have to do to the room now, since it's all cleaned out and the carpet's fine, is paint the walls. I want to add like a junction box, add a ceiling fan, maybe redo the closet, maybe some wainscoting or something like that. Still debating on all of this, but we got
Who cares about wainscoting?
I think it looks nice.
Shit.
It looks nice.
Can we move on to the
I want to make. Can we move on? Let's talk more about yoga, guys.
We're not talking about yoga.
This is why I talk fast when it's my turn to talk, because you want to move on right away.
No, I've been just sitting here waiting, counting the seconds go by until you're done talking about baby Steven.
That you don't want to talk about.
No, Stevetta. Do you have names?
We do have a top contender. I'm still a little iffy on it, but yeah, we do have one or two picked out.
Are you gonna confide in me and ask for my opinion?
Definitely not. Definitely
Come
not.
on.
I will not be asking for your opinion.
Why?
Because you're probably gonna rip it to shreds the second I say the name.
I'm gonna rip it to shreds either way.
Exactly.
I'll be like, that's a great name. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I don't know what you have in mind for naming a kid.
The crazy part about these names, I don't know if I've talked about this before, but there's literally apps like Tinder that you can use now to swipe left or right with your partner. And if you guys both match on a name, it'll, ding, ding, ding. You guys both have a winner here, and it'll match a name for you. And you can pick did I talk about this before?
No, this is terrible. Tell me more. Yeah,
so you can literally buy additional packs. So we bought a hipster pack, and the names.
You bought this money? You spent money on this?
My wife did. I think it was $2.99 extra for this.
You spent money on this?
Yeah.
In essence, you spent money on this.
I think the app itself is free, and then to connect to your partner.
Of course it is.
I think that's paid, and then the actual, additional options inside the app are an extra.
God forbid you get a book of names and sit there and go through it together and be like, you know what? I like Jebediah Springfield.
Dude, I will say that hipster pack, I have never even heard of any of the names.
Give me some names.
I don't have them off the top of my head, but I mean, names you wouldn't even think were names. Let's just say that. Just absolutely ridiculous. Let me see what the app says.
Shaquifa?
Let me see if I still have it.
While Steven's looking up names, I do want to let you know we do have photo stuff coming up. We're going to talk about shorts and reels in the photo world. We're going to talk about Canon dropping the price of the EOS R5. We're going to talk about someone kind of hinting that they have a camera that they're testing out that is coming in a few days. And then we're going to talk about the process of my new photo book because I'll be doing that. And then we have some other ranty stuff that's here. We'll see if we get to it.
Okay, here we go. I just activated the hipster pack again because we ended up taking it off because I don't think I swiped right to one name.
All right, I'm going to tell you what I would swipe right for. Wait, is right good or is left good?
Right is good. Just like Tinder, right's good, left is bad.
Steven, I don't know about Tinder. I deleted all that. I only use Grindr.
First one is Mamie. Mamie or Mamie.
That's racist.
I don't even know how to say
that's
that.
That's racist. Okay, that's racist. Okay, next.
Divya is the next one. Divya.
Divya?
Next one is Junia. Junia. Next one is I don't even know how to pronounce this. Phaedra. Phaedra.
Phaedra, isn't that Phaedra? Isn't that from that show we watch on HBO? They're fighting Phaedra.
Last of Us, you mean?
Yeah,
yeah, they are. I mean, yeah, I think they spelled it a different way with an F, not a PH. But
oh, there was PH.
There's Lavinia, Yolanda, Saffron. Gypsy, I'm going to keep going. Lisbeth, not Elizabeth, but Lisbeth.
I thought it was going to be Lizzo. I was like, did you download the wrong pack here? Malaria. Payola. You should name your kid Payola.
Oh, man. But yeah, that's kind of some of the names, for example. Trust me, these ones weren't nearly as bad when I first activated the pack, but some of the names are just, I'm like, I've never even heard
eBay, Etsy,
literally, some of them were names like that. I actually think one name was eBay. I'm not lying.
Steven, I really don't want to go down here, but you sure you got the right pack for the right parents?
Yes.
Because, for me, I'd be looking up, Aaron, Abel, Abibathar, Abigail. I'm looking up Jew names right now. Jewish baby names.
There's also like a nationality filter where you can have like just Irish names, just Italian names, just Jewish names, stuff like that. There's also the famous athletes pack. I guess if you want to name your kid a famous athlete or a celebrity name pack.
Jesus Christ, Steven, this is terrible. Hey, did you know Jared is origin is Hebrew, meaning descent, biblical, #biblical. The name Jared's primarily a male name of Hebrew origin that means descent. Jared Leto, actor, singer. What do you mean, Jared Leto? My name should be here. Different spellings of the name Jared. Jared. Jarred. Jarod. Jarrod. These are Jared. Gerrad. Those are all terrible names. People who like this name, Jared, also used Caleb, Ethan, Jackson, Liam, Jason, David, Jacob, Aurora, Sophia, Audrey, Aria, Charlotte, Ava, and Emma. Names like Jared, Jareth. These are terrible, Steven. This is terrible. We got to move on from this, Steven.
Moving on.
Can we talk about Canon dropping the price of the EOS R5?
Yes, please.
I didn't know this. Now I knew they dropped the price to $33.99 from $38.99. I didn't know that it's coming with a free grip.
I didn't either. I saw this in your notes that you sent over this morning.
In my notes.
That's an $850 savings all in with the grip and just it being down to what, $3,300, $3,400?
$33.99.
$3,400.
Yeah, $3,400.
I've always seen them do this with the 5D series. Eventually they drop it to like $3,300, give or take. But you're looking at, $600 off from the original price.
And a
or
grip.
$500 off.
Basically, what they're trying to do is stave off. They want to sell as many of these now to stop people from buying the supposed Z8 when that gets announced.
Or is it also in combination because an R5 Mark II is coming? Because I assume it's not that far off if the R6 Mark II has been out for already, 6 months?
I still think we're 6 months at least away, maybe into 2024 before we get an R5 Mark II.
See, but at that point, it better be a pretty big upgrade because the R6 Mark II, I didn't mind that it wasn't it was more of an incremental update. Because it was only, barely 2 years out. But now you're looking at 3+ years that the R5 will be out.
But the crazy thing is, it's not like the camera is lacking. It's not like the 45 megapixel sensor. We shot that.
It still holds up.
When we shot that at Jeremy's painting studio at 16,000 ISO in the back area with the 11 to 24 at f4, and I was at 16,000, and you look at the print or you look at the photo and you're like,
45 megapixel sensor.
There's nothing wrong with this.
Yeah. And it's not a BSI sensor. I will say that too.
I don't think any of it even matters.
Well, it does matter with low light.
But at the end of the day, no one. It's like I'm not buying the camera.
I always say to you though, it doesn't matter until you compare it to something like a BSI sensor. Then you might notice the difference. But no, I agree that if you just show a picture, no one's going to be like, oh, that's not a BSI stack sensor or something, you know?
Yeah, so I don't think the drop of price is because a 5D Mark II is around the corner. I think it's one of these like, okay, it's a little older now. Let's spice it up right now because the Z8 is coming, and why don't we try to sell as many of these as we can because that locks people into our ecosystem.
And they're rumoring the Z8 for like $4,200 US dollars, 4,600
we've seen everything
euro.
We've seen everything from the wrong price of 38. What was our fake price?
$35.99, I think is what we did.
$35.99. You know that
this website Sony Alpha Rumors posted about it. Yeah.
Why don't we update them on the Sony Alpha Rumors thing? Because we talked about it. It was breaking news last week. While we were recording the show, Steven told me that Sony Alpha Rumors posted a leak from China, a China website that showed a price, and it was clearly our April Fool's fix video. And I was going to leave a comment, but then I was like, Steven, should we just leave this? And then while we were recording the show, or right after, I did see that someone left a comment that this is from Jared's Photo News Fix, and then, oops, all of a sudden, his video was gone on Sony Alpha Rumors, and the post was completally gone.
And guess who screenshotted it and ripped the video before it got deleted?
Yeah, we put it in our in our raw Photo News Fix this week because the guy was just we just wanted to call out the stupidity of the Sony Alpha Rumors will just throw any shit against the wall even if it's wrong.
And I don't even think he called that one a wild rumor, which usually that's, you know, if it's a random source, he'll call it a wild rumor and it makes a little more sense, but this one was just a regular rumor.
Yep, and then Nikon Rumors picked it up. They left it up, but they debunked it and left it up. I don't know why you wouldn't leave it up.
They found out quickly, but that was also because people in the comments were like, that was from Jared's April Fool's video. I don't think they did research on their own.
Nope, but it just shows you how rumors go. We could make anything up and sift it out into the world, and someone would believe it.
I will always back up Canon Rumors because I feel like they're the one, it's weird to say, reputable rumor website because they usually have it spot on, and they don't post anything unless they have pretty much confirmation. Yeah. It's been very rare that they've been wrong in the past.
Yep. So, yeah, I think the forthcoming Z8 is what is making Canon drop the price right now. And based off of, you know, the rumors, and we've talked about the posted rumors of the Z8, I mean,
when is that announcement supposed to be, by the way? When was the teaser saying? May something? Next
10th?
week, right? Next week? Yeah.
Is it the 10th?
Wow.
It's a countdown timer till the 10th.
Okay.
And the Easter egg had an 8 in it, so you kind of can figure out what it might be. But if it is what the rumors say it is, it's going to be a pretty interesting thing. We talked about that in depth last week, so we don't need to go back into it now. Mm-hmm. But it's interesting to see that Canon is dropping the price of that, and it will be interesting to see what they have next because they've been in the market fine for a while. Nikon's the one that's been struggling with the Z6, the Z7, and now they're going to hit with a Z8. They have the Z9. What will this do? Because this really handicaps them or hamstrings them for the next 4 years. This is their direction. Whatever the Z8 is, it's going to be 3-4 years in the market. And will there be a Z7 III? Will there be a Z6 III? Like, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
So we'll have to see what's going to come down the pipe, or pike, or pipe, or pike. I don't know which word it is, pike or pipe. I think it's pike, coming down the pike.
I don't know.
You know, like the term pike. Why don't we Google that, Steve?
Let's ask Mr. Google.
Google. Is it coming down the turn? Is it coming down the pike or the pipe? It's got to be the pike. I'm going with pike.
It's pike, yes.
Yeah. See, I know. I'm right.
Confirmed by Mr. Google.
Thank you, Google. So yeah, let's move on to that since we're talking about the Z8. I saw this on Nikon Rumors where they shared a video from Thomas Heaton, who is a landscape photographer in Europe, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yep.
Where he is sitting there in the video going, tomorrow I'm filming something that I can't tell you about that I'm filming, and it has something to do with that countdown timer that's going to end in a few days, but I'm contractually obligated to not tell you what it is.
He's like, I signed an NDA for the first time.
He signed an NDA for the first time, and may I add, for the last fucking time. Because if you're going to sit there and say, you are literally breaking your NDA by saying
you have
an NDA.
Yeah.
You are acknowledging that you have an NDA. You are saying what it's for. You are saying when it's coming out. You are beating around the bush, which is not what you do when you get an NDA. So congratulations, Thomas Heaton. You got your first NDA and now your last NDA from Nikon because what you are saying is just breaking whatever NDA you might have. And so it doesn't take a rocket scientist, in his opinion, to figure out what he's talking about because he's literally talking about using a new Nikon camera.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they'll go after him legally, but I do agree that he probably won't get another one after this because it's a very vague statement that he made.
Well, it's different because it's not Nikon USA. It's Nikon Europe. We don't know how Nikon Europe operates. Maybe they're like, oh, let's drink some tea. And, oh, no big deal, Thomas Heaton. That's okay that you said that you have a contract, an NDA, and that you can't talk about what it is, but you're basically hinting exactly what it is, which is what the NDA is all about, to tell you not to do, and you did it anyway. So good on you, bro. Yeah.
I mean, what else would it be? That's the only thing that's been teased for next week, right? Across the camera industry.
Well, he talked about a countdown timer.
Yeah.
He talked about what he was just shooting.
Yeah.
He talked about what he's going to shoot tomorrow, and he can't talk about it until that date.
Yeah.
Unless it's the new Sony that they don't know about.
Oh, but Jared, don't break that NDA.
Shit, did I just do it? Is it the Canon? What's that? Is that a knock on the door? Is that a knock? Is that the...
It's the NDA police. Run.
Is that the NDA police coming? Davida, are you in there, Ladasha? Wait, what baby names are these? Are we here?
Is that the hipster name pack?
Did you buy... Does it really say hipster name pack?
Dude, it literally says... Let me show you. It literally says hipster name pack. Settings, filters... I don't know if you could see this.
I can. But what's the app called?
It's called Baby Name. That's it.
Baby Name app. Baby Name.
And then there's another app called Baby Names, which is just simply what you were saying before, like the top names and then everything in alphabetical order, just like a normal baby book. I'm going to read this on the website, on Apple App Store review. Baby Name. Find it together. Find your baby's name together. And it's from a company called Do Something Good. And so there's an egg... And then the egg opens, and then it says, swipe right. Then there's a name called Jasper. Means jewel. Connect. It's a match. This is terrible, Stephen. I can't... Oh, I wonder what some of these... I want to read some of the negative comments, actually. Some of the one star. I hope there's something about the hipster pack.
Don't bother. Just Google. I downloaded this app to use with my husband and decided...
I haven't been very happy with the names. I feel like they're really weird off names.
I downloaded this app to use with my husband and decided to upgrade for more names. He would also have to pay the upgrade fee to see the new names, which I think is ridiculous. This app is terrible at remembering names you have already seen. So it's basically like a dating app. It keeps showing you the same people you've said no to a million times.
I've swiped no to a few names, and I've definitely seen them again. Yeah.
Yeah, this is terrible. Don't waste your money on upgrading the name. Just Google unique names instead. I'd love to have my money back. How much is the app, Steven?
I don't know. My wife bought it.
Yeah, but didn't you have to buy it at the same time?
No, I just downloaded the app, and since she bought...
Oh, it's free.
I think since she bought it, I just signed into the account, and she linked it up. I didn't have to pay for anything.
In-app purchases, here we go. Buy all filters, $2.99. Epic Parents, $3.99. Undo Swipe. They charge you to undo swipes?
And I'm actually pretty sure my wife bought that.
Are you fucking kidding me, Steven?
I think it was like $1 or something, though. I don't think it was anything crazy.
It is. Steven, it's a baby name. You went back and spent 99 cents. What? You could have put that money in the bank account for the baby, and it would be worth like $1 billion tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
Nationality, 99 cents. Good Parents, $1.99. Cool Parents, $2.99. Hipster Parents, 99 cents. No ads, 99 cents. Celebrities, 99 cents. So they charge less for hipsters. See,
no, but that's, I think, the name pack. That's the filter.
It is. But the baby, like, if you're a hipster parent, you're probably like, I'm not paying for this. How dare I? How dare you ask for me to pay for this hipster name pack? It should be free because of socialism. Is there the Bernie Sanders? I'm Bernie Sanders. I'm going to help you name your child. Is your baby going to be a boy? Then it should be named Bernard. If it's going to be a boy, then you should name it Bernard. And if you want to, Bernard is short for Bernie. Bernie is also short for burn. You could also say feel the burn, like your wife's going to feel the burn when she's giving birth.
Here's some other names from the hipster pack. Pandora. Ariadne. Ariadne.
Are you fucking kidding? Is that Ariadne?
Ariadne. It's Ariadne. I don't know how to pronounce that.
I wish they would say. Terrible.
I wish they would show how to actually pronounce it too.
Wait, is swipe left bad?
Dude.
Did you just say Ladasha?
Latidia? Latita?
Spell Latidia. Wait, let me spell it. Right. No, let me spell it. Hold on.
Like Latidia.
What's the name? Read me the name, Steven. This is spelling bee.
Latidia.
Can you give me the
it's
origin?
Probably like Letitia or something.
Yeah, but can you give me the origin?
Joy, gladness.
Latidia? Can you use it in a sentence?
I don't know.
Latidia did not latch onto her mother's breast. Latidia.
How do you spell it?
I got it. Here we go. I'm spelling it, Steven. This is how you do the spelling bee. Haven't you seen bad words?
I know. Spell it.
I'm making sure. I got it. Latidia. Latitia. Latidia.
Very close. Letitia.
Fuck you!
I assume it's Letitia or something. But
no, Letitia would be spelled Letisha. You sound it out.
This person would. Oh man, I just can't. I can't imagine the first day of school every year for a person that is named this.
D-Nice. Timothy.
Here you go. Here's India. Here is Circe. Circe, right?
Circe's.
Stormy Eckert.
No one's naming. I mean,
Zen.
It's like naming.
There you go. There's your yoga stuff. Zen.
Well, who would name their kid Zen?
Narcissa.
No, Steven. You should name
you're
your
a
kid
narcissist, Jared, not Narcissa.
You should name your kid Latita.
Narcissa. All right, I'm done with this.
This is terrible, Steven.
That's the stuff, though, I was saying. I'm like, what are these names?
Can you take your wife's bank account away? Because she is burning money on Latidia. Really? You can't just come up with names yourself. You can't get a book. You can't Google it. Like, you got to go pay for a stupid app to swipe for your. Hey, how did you come up with my name? Well, that's a great story, Latidia. We were swiping. Right. We were both swiping on an app. What the fuck is wrong with you, parents? Yeah, and we came up on Latidia, and we're like, damn, that's gonna go over well in first grade. Hey, your name's Latidia. You said tit.
Letitia?
No, Letitia, I'm telling you, is Latisa.
I agree, but sometimes they have weird spellings and they're pronounced differently.
Ladasha. L-A-H. Aaron. Steven, how do we get back onto names? How do we get back onto names, Steven?
I don't know.
This is terrible. I think we were talking about NDAs here and names for NDAs, maybe.
Yeah.
All right. So we put out a short the other day, right? And that was part of our obligation as a partnership deal with the Insta360 Flow. As you know, that was a branded piece of content. We call it, what do we call those things?
Product showcase. Not a review.
A product showcase is a way of us saying that we got paid, so we can't call it a review. And the way that I do a product showcase is I'm literally I'm making you aware of the product.
Exactly. It's bringing this product to light to our audience, saying it exists.
It exists.
Go check it out.
It's something that you may not have known before, but I'm not going to sit there and say, you must buy this or give it the stamp of approval of
5 stars.
I agree.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's just not it. We're not iJustine. So we just say it this way. But part of it was they wanted a short. They also wanted some Insta stories. We ended up giving them reels, which is better. But Steven did a great job cutting up that video. The first comment on the short was so fucking annoying. Like, oh, you didn't compare it to someone else. This is a worthless product review. And how dare you? And I was like, this is a 60-second video, dude. In the description, it says, for the full video, click here. And also, the video doesn't say this is a comparison to the thing. And we can't give you in 60 seconds a comparison to the DJI product. The DJI product. So anyway, the short, we knew it was going to fail. We knew short wasn't going to do well. And Steven made an extremely valid point the other day to me on the phone that actually resonated. Do you know what that point was, Steven?
I think I was saying that the reason Reels work out so well is because they're much more shareable via like DMs on Instagram than Shorts. Shorts, you really, YouTube is not built around DMing that kind of community. You can't really just simply share a short. You have to basically copy and paste that link and send it to someone via like an iMessage or Facebook Messenger or whatever it may be. Where Instagram, everything's built into the app. Me and you are constantly nonstop back and forth DMing stupid Reels, all the time.
They're not stupid. They're very informative. We only talk about interesting, informative stuff like South Park videos making fun of
South
Jews.
Park, Family Guy.
Basically funny stuff that people would get offended by.
For sure.
That we find funny.
Yep.
But Stephen was absolutely right about that Reels are shareable. And I talked to some other people that say they don't really use social media, but they end up sharing Reels in Instagram because you just can. Now, back in the day on YouTube, going back 10 plus years, we all actually had a mailbox.
Yeah, what happened to that?
Mailbox. It disappeared one day. I stopped opening the mailbox because I started to get a lot of spam and stupid questions.
Maybe that's
like
why
people trying to get in touch with me, but it just was bad. And so that went away. There used to be a YouTube mailbox, and it did go away because that's how I got in touch with some people back in the past.
And they have the community tab now, but really that nobody uses that for the most part. I mean, it is nice for a creator to kind of poll their audience or do something like that, or repost a video, but there's really no DMing capability.
No,
that's what's missing.
But the reason this came up is that Facebook cans their originals, the Facebook Watch. They got rid of it. So all these shows that were involved with that are no longer coming back. So they spent, I don't know, $1 billion.
What is Facebook Watch?
Well, you know that Red Table Talk with whatever her name was?
No.
Keep my wife's name out of your motherfucking mouth. Will Smith.
Will Smith's wife.
Hey, Steven, guess who's calling?
Spam
Any guesses
risk.
to who's calling? No,
Dan.
my dad.
Oh.
Hello, we're recording the podcast.
Well, I'm glad you're reporting the podcast. Your
Reporting?
25 years of lighting your way is perfect.
Okay, good. I'm
And
glad.
that's what we're going to use.
All right.
It's a double entendre, and it was great. Okay.
That's why I get paid the big bucks.
Yeah, I've heard that. Okay. Talk to you later. Have fun.
All right, bye. So, being that my dad just said that, let me explain to you because there's no context to what he just said. So, my dad has been in business, his new business, for 25 years, and by new I mean his.
You know what's funny, by the way?
What?
Your dad is just like you. You have to like call someone just to tell them something very quickly when it could just be a text message.
Yeah,
he could have just texted you and said, "Hey, we went with that instead."
Nah, phone call's fine. It's fine. So my dad reaches out to me yesterday because they've been in business for 25 years. I say they, my brother now runs the business. It's a lighting business. It's called Lamplighters, right? It's called Lamplighters because of hockey. And the original logo that I made had a spinning red light that I took out of Corel Draw because I had the clip art pack CD in 1999.
Nice.
I had the clip art CD, so I used like a spinning red lamp, and it was called Lamplighter. So I did Lamplighter, whatever. I did the logo. Well, since they've been in for 25 years, my dad wanted to do some sort of change up the wording on the invoices and the prints
and not have stolen art as his logo.
It's not. It's clip art. It's not stolen. You paid for the rights to use it by owning
commercially
Corel Draw. Yes, that's why you had Corel Draw. It was like $800 to have Corel Draw.
Oh, okay. I thought you can use it personally. I didn't realize you can use it commercially like that.
It was clip art. Who knows? Don't sue whoever owns Corel Draw. I mean, shit. No one uses Corel Draw. It still exists for some reason, but I don't know who actually uses it. So it's called Lamplighters, and my dad calls me and he's like, "We're thinking of doing a tagline, celebrating 25 years of lighting your life." And he's like, Jason said, my brother said, we should call Jared or my dad said we should talk to Jared because he's usually pretty good with this stuff.
Yeah.
So my first reaction was, no.
What was the exact wording you used, Jared?
Yag.
Backwards.
Backwards. That was a joke. That's what we used to say in the 90s. And
that's a line from Community too.
It is. So I was just like, let me think about that for a second, Dad, because lighting your life sounds really cheesy.
That was the first thing I said. And
I was like,
cheesy.
Well, all right, you still want lighting something? Okay, Lamplighters, 25 years of lighting the way. Okay, there you go. Lighting the way.
Lighting your way, right? Or lighting the way.
lighting your way, lighting the way, either way you go.
Yeah,
I think
true.
lighting the way, I think or your way is fine, because your is specifying that they
More
are
personal.
getting lighting to the clients, and the clients, it's lighting their way. Pronouns there. So that was the idea. And I also like established 1999, because that shows, in business for 25
I like
years.
established more than since 1999.
Right. Well, I think he's going to go with since 1999 because
really?
there's less
Okay.
space. It takes up less space.
Well, what about just the EST or whatever established?
Yeah, established 1999.
Yeah.
Like, I think that stuff's pretty cool. But anyway, that's what my dad was talking about. So he just wanted to call me real quick for 12 seconds to tell me that he likes it.
It
It's
could have been a
perfect.
text
It's
message.
good. Which means he probably asked a bunch of people what they thought, and they like that better than lighting your life. Because lighting your life sounds really bad.
Again, that's just like you. You have to ask around and see if you like it, and then you can confirm.
No, well, I also laugh at my own jokes, and sometimes I still go with my own choice of stuff.
There's things I'll recommend, and you'll be like, I don't know. And then you ask around, and you'll be like, yeah, I do like it.
Well, sometimes I have to live with it for a minute and feel it out and play around with different. It's like when we come up with different titles. We have to figure out
Latitties, right? Letitia.
Latitties. Yeah,
Latitia.
different latitis. Oh, Jesus, Stephen. Anyway, that's my dad. So back to the Facebook thing. Facebook gets rid of Watch. Years ago, going back already, YouTube got away with YouTube Originals, right?
Totally flopped.
And before YouTube Originals, they had $100 million initiative. This was way back. We're going like 7, 8, 9, 10 years, where they gave money to celebrities to start YouTube channels to try and get them to make videos. And they did, and they didn't gain traction. And people like Phil DeFranco got paid and got money to go and do this. It helped Philip DeFranco continue to do his thing. And it worked for almost no one. There's maybe nobody. Is that a dog toy behind you, or a Nerf gun on the floor?
It's a dog toy.
Oh,
It's a
anyway,
gingerbread man dog toy.
gingerbread person, Stephen.
Excuse me, person. Yes.
Because
Let me cut that
the
out.
funny thing is, no, don't cut it out. There is there's a place called Cake Life in Philly, in Fishtown, where my friend Shelly went in one day it was during the holidays, and she wanted gingerbread men. And she's like, I'd like a couple gingerbread men. And the person behind the counter corrected her and said, they're gingerbread people.
Oh, come on.
And I would have been like, fuck you. Like, really? You're going to get offended that I'm calling it it's a gingerbread man. It's a man.
They don't exist.
It's a
They
gingerbread
don't
man.
exist.
It's always been a
They're
gingerbread man.
not going to be offended.
So
So
why
they're
don't
not
you
real.
have gingerbread, non-denominational, non-conforming, what's that word? Non-binary. Oh, sorry. It's a non-binary gingerbread cookie. Wait, can you say cookie? Is cookie okay? What if you said cracker? Is that a derogatory term for white people?
I mean,
Cracker?
depends how you use it. It could be.
Hey, get over here, cracker.
I mean, yeah.
I think someone called me cracker once, and I was like, really? Really?
That's still a
is
thing?
that supposed to hurt me?
Yeah.
Is that supposed to hurt me, cracker? Okay, I'll take it. Call me cracker. Wait, what does cracker mean? White?
That's what I thought.
Wait, I got to Google this
Cracker
now.
means white. Yeah.
What does cracker mean?
Calling a
for
white person cracker.
White people.
Yeah.
Cracker, term, color. Cracker, sometimes white cracker or cracka, is a racial slur directed towards white people, used especially with regards to poor rural whites in the southern, that sounds about right, southern United States. Although commonly a pejorative, why don't you name your kid pejorative? It's also used
I saw
in
that
a
name on there,
neutral
too.
context, particularly in reference to a native of Florida or Georgia. Well, that makes sense. So it's something that, oh, geez, it goes back to like William Shakespeare. So it totally has different meanings from way back in the day compared to today. Like back in the day, there's a Yiddish term that people would use for a certain group of people, and I'm not using it anymore because it's just something that older people would say, and I'm like, you can't say that anymore. You can't say that word because
Is this something Lil would say?
Lil absolutely did say it back in the day, but Lil was also 100 years old, not giving her a pass on that. But it's just how, I mean, shit. You look at the history of what people were called, and it has changed over time. Like I can't believe that in like the 60s and 70s people would get on the news and say colored people, right?
Wow.
Like colored people, like it's just and then even before that, then it was other words, and you're like, I can't believe, how the hell were you saying this stuff at all?
Yeah.
It's just like, no, terrible. So anyway, we're getting back onto the Facebook thing. Facebook and YouTube have killed off their long form types of content where they were paying a lot of money.
Their original content.
Yeah. Their original content. So Facebook Watch canned it. They killed it all. And then the person that started that is leaving, but it's been up for 5 years. They were spending millions of dollars. I know for a fact that there was Gronkowski. I was told, and I'm going to give you numbers, but Gronkowski was paid to do Facebook Live. So all he had to do was go onto Facebook Live X amount of times in a week, and he would get X amount of dollars. And we're talking X going to give it to you dollars.
Wow.
Like lots of zeros after it, probably $1 million. I don't know if that's true, to get there and to do this over a short amount of time. I think Facebook thought that if celebrities used Facebook Live, that more people would use it. No one uses Live. Live is stupid. It's a waste of time. Speaking of Live, Steven, remember that stupid app during the pandemic that was all voice, and you can get into those voice chat rooms and you could have, what the even hell was that thing called? It wasn't Community.
It wasn't Community. It was something I thought with a C though.
Clubhouse. Got it.
Clubhouse.
I figured it out.
That's it.
I got
Yeah,
it off
yeah.
the top of my head without looking. It was called Clubhouse. Where's Clubhouse today, everybody?
I will say it was kind of cool though, especially during the pandemic. It was a perfect time for that because it really was like being in a virtual chat room. And
then
was
they
this
raised a whole bunch.
Before Zoom really became a huge thing, or was it after?
No, Zoom was already a huge thing
Okay.
before, and the Zoom Zoom zoomed into prominence during the pandemic because of how anyway.
Well, and speaking of dead apps, what's the other one that used to be like a Beam? Be Real. That one, I mean, are people still using that? That was a big thing for a minute.
There were some stories out about Be Real recently having to change up some things, and that they still have 20 million active daily users.
My
which
wife
is
used it
pretty
for
good.
a hot second, but then she just fell off.
Of course she did.
What's
She
that
gonna
mean?
fall off of the glider, the motorized glider? Like, it has it's been hacked. I'm like, hey, can the glider be hacked?
It's not actually gliding back and forth automatically. It's just, it's just like a recliner. It's an automated recliner.
Oh, I thought that it had a motor so that it would do the rocking for you.
No. You have to manually still glide if you want to, but to recline up, instead of manually pulling the lever or whatever it may be, you just pop a switch and boom, it comes up.
Are you going to sit in the chair?
Yeah, for sure. And it's got these like nice little built-in pillows on the side so you can rest your arm. It's really nice.
Oh, great. What are you naming your kid?
Latidia.
Fine, Latidia. So the moral of the story is Facebook is getting rid of this stuff. And the reason I'm bringing that up is to show you, like, shorts are dead. I've been saying it since day one that shorts made no sense for YouTube and Reels makes more sense. And being that, Facebook owns, or Meta owns, Instagram, the Reels and video watch time was up like 21% now on Instagram because it just makes sense. So our reel for the Insta 360 flow, bringing it back from about 25 minutes ago, did much better and had more engagement and did better views-wise than the 3,000 views in the first 8 hours of the short. The short just makes absolutely no sense, and it's just, I don't want to do them. So I'm not going to offer them to companies.
I think YouTube clearly changed up the algorithm or how they're showing shorts now because, people that really were the early adopters for shorts, like someone like Peter McKinnon, for example, he was getting millions of views in the beginning when he was posting shorts because they were
just getting out into the world.
Yeah, they were prioritizing shorts over other videos. So everyone was seeing, if people were doing shorts for the first time. And now going from millions of views per short, the last two he did were 85,000 and 36,000. It really goes to show that they're not, pushing them out like they did. They changed something up because even with us, we can tell we're not even hitting 10,000 views on a short, which is terrible.
Yeah, which is why we're not doing them.
But before we were getting at least like 50,000, Yeah.
But it just progressively went down. We have one that's over 1 million, and then it progressively goes down. And we added a lot of subscribers, but again, they're probably not the right subscribers. So the thing is, I think, and I've said it directly to YouTube people, that shorts are bad. They just don't make sense. you're going to come back to what made YouTube YouTube.
Yep.
And that is long form quality content. Quality content. I'm tired of hearing, well, you have to make short content because people have a short attention span. Tired of hearing that, because we know for a fact that if you have quality content, people will watch it all the way through. Photo News Fix gets watched all the way through, whether it's 8 minutes or 6 minutes. It gets watched. Our longer form content, maybe that's an hour long, may not get full watch time, may not get watched for an hour, but it gets average of 20 minutes. So
I personally go to YouTube for the long form content being reviews and tutorials. Those two things are what I go to YouTube for, to see firsthand experience of a specific product that somebody used, or again, a how-to video of how to do something around the house. That's my go-to reason for using YouTube. And you can't learn that in a short. You can't learn that in 60 seconds. You know, you need a full long form video of that.
Yep. And that's why I do think that shorts in 2 years, they're gonna keep at it for 2 more years.
Kill it.
And then it's gonna slowly fade away. It's going to be like integrated into something else. It's just going to go away.
I'm just sick of all of these apps copying each other and trying to just, you know, jump on whatever's hot at the moment right now and trying to be the next big thing. I get it. You have to evolve. You have to move on, but you got to stick to what made it. You know what I mean? YouTube was always known for long form content from the beginning. Stick with that first and foremost.
Engine.
And then maybe add in shorts on the side, but don't prioritize shorts over long form content. I mean, really the only app I feel like that ever did a great job with copying another app was Instagram, when they stole stories or whatever they were called for Snapchat.
From Snapchat.
Yeah. Yep. Was it called stories on Snapchat? Wasn't it called memories or no, it was something else I thought.
I don't even know, because I deleted Snapchat.
They stole it right away at the right time. They didn't wait a year or two to implement stories. So I think that's why that succeeded with Instagram.
Well, it did, because they had a bigger following and they did it, and they just did it.
They did it at the right time. Yeah.
So that's that. I do want to move on to something that I've been putting off for a couple of weeks. I'm gay. I'm just kidding, Steven. I just thought I'm straight. I just knew that would throw you
putting
for a
off
loop.
for a couple of years, not a couple.
How many people just spit out their coffee? Because that's funny. See, that's comedy.
See, I have the notes of what we're going to talk about next, and I know that's not it.
I know you know it's not it, but I thought that made sense. That's where my brain. That was funny because all the people. It was popular.
True.
It's not true. It was and even if it was, who cares? It was popular.
Nobody cares.
A bunch of years ago, it was popular on YouTube to have a coming out video, right? I want to do this delicately, because I don't know what it's like to be gay and closeted and go through life getting the shit beat out of you verbally.
Exactly.
To then
and depending on your upbringing and your parents not being comfortable with it, I mean, it can't be an easy thing to do.
Right, but then to have it where you kept it bottled up inside, to then make it, maybe the announcing of it is a freeing thing for some people, but then on the flip side, there's always been this thing to out gay people, and it's like, fuck you, leave people alone. Why does it matter? No one's outing you as straight. No one's like, why should someone have to announce their intentions, or I'm gay and therefore I have to tell the world? You know, it's like that's just so stupid that's like where people went but whatever. So
I agree. Yeah.
That's just annoying. I don't give a shit what somebody is. We all know that. That's like not a big deal. That's why I joke about it with people, is because I'm secure in where I'm at, and I think that some people like it, and other people obviously get offended at times. But I have no problem hugging a man, right? Mm-hmm. I will hug my friends, and then I will hold them an extra 5 seconds longer just to make them uncomfortable. Because I think it's funny. You want to see how someone reacts.
Yeah.
And who cares? Like, who gives a shit?
I think I hug my guy friends more than my girlfriends.
Do you have girlfriends?
Girl space friends.
Well, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
I don't really have that. I mean, I guess I hug people.
Oh, anyway. I'm a big hugger for sure. Bring it in for the real thing is what I always say.
No, yeah, exactly. And it doesn't mean anything. Like, you hug your dad, you kiss your dad. It doesn't matter. Like, it's family.
Yeah, you kiss him on the lips. It's not weird.
It's still kind of weird. But anyway, so how did I get on?
I have no idea how you got here. I don't know.
which I'm not that it matters. I wanted to talk about this for the last couple of weeks is what I said. And it's that I'm in the process of working on another photo book. And this type of book really takes a look back at my years of being in the concert world and behind the scenes. And this was the debate when I put out the first book was, do I just go with this?
This is the book I've wanted you to put out from day one. Yeah.
But I still am very happy with the Bernie book. Not
of course.
in any way upset with that other than the gutter, but it's still great.
Just from a broad sales perspective, I think this kind of book makes more sense to the general public.
From a broad, from a broad, yes.
Yeah.
That's not why I did the first book anyway. It wasn't about how many could I sell. But with that being said, if I sold 500 of those, will we sell 1,000 of these off the bat because it doesn't have anything to do with political stuff?
Yeah.
But what's interesting is I'm going through a lot of the images, and I'm also diving into some of my photo story stuff. And then I'm sitting here going, but I don't want to combine the two. I think the photo stories is a different era of myself.
I totally agree. Yep.
And that means I need to focus on some of my early concert stuff, on some of the bands that I latched onto early. I mean, the very first show that I shot was the Counting Crows on the Hard Candy tour. And
I can't believe that was the first show you've ever shot.
That was.
I'm surprised you didn't start in like an old like church cellar or something, shooting some underground band.
I never went to a concert, and I was my friend Bob asked me if I wanted.
That was your first concert too?
No, I've gone to concerts with my parents, but I never went to a concert that I personally paid for.
Okay.
Because I just never did. So I love the Counting Crows. My buddy Bob and his girlfriend were going. I'm like, I want a ticket.
Terrible live band. What?
And I was like, terrible. But back then, they sang the songs the way they should have been sang.
They weren't
because it was a new album.
Yeah.
No, it was a new album. Don't go see the Counting Crows today unless Adam Duritz guarantees that he's going to sing the songs the way they're supposed to be sang.
Yep.
And I know he's the artist.
A 3-minute song into a 10-minute random jam band track.
Terrible. Like Mrs. Jones and
Mrs. Jones or Mr. Jones?
Mr. Well, in this day and age, it could be either. But so I say that was the first show that I shot, but they were the headliner, which means there was an opening act, and I photographed the opening act. It was this band called Graham Colton Band, and I walked backstage. The first thing I get there, and
how did you get backstage?
I'll tell you in a minute.
Man, you got lucky this first time around.
The first time, so I get there, and the promoter guy's like, "Yeah, it's new, 3 songs and done." I'm like, how am I supposed to do that? I didn't know this thing existed. How is that a rule? I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. First song was Mrs. Potter's Lullaby. That's why I confused it. Mrs. Potter's Lullaby is an 8-minute long song. So I had 8 minutes for the first song of 3, and I shot 4 rolls of 36 exposure 800 ISO film. And out of I think I shot 10 rolls that show, 10 rolls of film. And I probably ended up with 3 usable pictures because I didn't know what I was doing. I got my exposures pretty close.
Speaking of jam bands, by the way, a similar situation for me. When I shot the Dave Matthews Band Caravan back in 2012, it was the same thing. It was shoot first 3 songs, which is, industry standard. And we're like, all right, whatever, I'm used to that. And since Dave Matthews Band was headlining, obviously, they are a total jam band. The opening song was 15 minutes long.
You're like, I've had enough.
And then the second song was 10 minutes long. We literally were at the point where I put down my camera and was just listening to Dave Matthews sing in front of me 5 feet away. I mean, I had so many shots. It was 30 minutes that we were in the pit for. And then the next day, because it was a whole weekend long festival, they actually limited it to the first 10 minutes instead of the first 3 songs.
Which makes sense.
Exactly. But it's just funny how that worked out.
So back to the story. We were told 3 songs or less. Graham opened up. The Counting Crows played. So after Graham went on, I walked backstage somehow, and I knocked on the dressing room door, and I was like, "Hey, can I go on the road with you?"
Wow. And he said yes?
No, he didn't say yes at that time. I still actually talk to him now, but they were like, "Oh, well, our girlfriends just came out on the road. We don't have enough room in the van." But I asked. I asked. So just going through my different photos that I have, I got some really good stuff over the years, and so I think that the photo stories needs to be separated, which is good because that's the next one. I can go into photo stories because I have, a ton of those 6 degrees shoots. And it doesn't have to be called 6 degrees. I mean, the book could be called 6 with the degree sign on it for the next one.
Nice.
And I talk about it. But the reason I bring this up is because I asked Coach George Raveling to write the foreword for me. He's also 86 years old, right? He's up there. I asked him to write the foreword because he just, when I was on the phone with him, because
do you think he makes sense for this kind of book though, like a concert photography book?
No, not for the concert book.
Oh, for the 6 degrees, you mean?
Yes, but
Okay.
I asked him because I thought I was going to do photo stories in this book. So I asked him because we were on the phone and he was just talking about how happy he is that I've entered his life and how the photos that I've captured for him means so much to him. And I think I said this on maybe a week or two ago, that he said to his family that if I was to be buried, which he doesn't want to be, he wants to be cremated, that he would ask to be buried with that photo I took of him crossing the street in Kentucky.
Wow.
And so if that meant so much to him, my work has meant that much to him, then I would like for him to write that forward. So I may have to sit on that forward for the third book.
You know who you should get for the concert book? Perry Farrell.
There's Perry, there's Modest, there's Stefan Macchio, there's my buddy Walt.
Perry he was such a prominent figure at that time too. You know, Jane's Addiction and all.
Do you know what I would like?
You photographed him so many times.
Well, he was my big tour. He was my first tour.
Exactly. Yep.
And that's why, like, I didn't want to put a ton of photos of him, the tour, in there. But then I'm like, you know what? That is the journey. There was my time with certain bands.
Yeah.
Like early times with Silvertide. And you try to latch onto a band that you hope takes off and you become their photographer. I mean, I was shooting Maroon 5 when they were in a van, and I was trying to go out on the road with them.
Wow.
So much so
Could you imagine?
I'm happy where I ended up.
Oh, sure.
And I made it on my own. But their manager at the time, Ben Berkman. Yeah, his name was Ben Berkman. He reached out and was like, do you do video? And this was the time, remember the old white Canon camcorders at the time?
Terrible.
Like the GL1 or whatever they were. I'm like, how hard can it be? I'll buy a video camera for you. I'll buy the camera and go on the road. That didn't happen. That didn't end up happening with Maroon 5, but it was a possibility that I was going to go out on the road with Maroon 5 back then. I mean, I met them, first time I saw them was at the Leocora Center opening for John Mayer. Then I walked backstage into their locker room and have this awesome photo of Maroon 5 folding their laundry.
See, I would love to know the behind the scenes story of like that, of how you got back there. Why were you photographing them? What were they doing?
You're still going to get the audio stuff. So the audio book, and there's going to be some words, but I still have to go through I now have to go deeper into the book. See, I actually ordered 254 4x6 prints from Printique today for the book, to do the layout. And then I canceled the order because I'm like, I got to go back and pick certain things, like the Norah Jones photos from Rolling Stone, my first assignment, how I ended up backstage with Norah Jones, not knowing anybody, right? And sitting in the room with her taking pictures. Like that.
You're basically telling your pre-Fronos photo story, how you got to that point before you started Fronos Photo.
I'm going to
ask
made
Perry,
you
the photographer.
I am going to ask Perry to do ask him for some words because they love Perry and Etty love my work. Mm-hmm. I would like to have him write it in his book and then send me the paper, and then I'll take the photo of the paper.
That would be cool.
He's a writer. I have photos of him writing in his book lyrics.
Does he have good penmanship too?
Good enough. Yeah, I think it's plenty good.
Cool.
Right? I think that would be good. Now I don't feel bad that I have to hold the Coach Raveling one because it means so much. But I was also thinking for the 6 Degree book to ask everybody that I did a big photo story on to write something up.
That'd be
someone that it resonates. Like I think Stefan Macchio could write a musical piece. Honestly, a piano piece. That's interesting.
But his music is usually instrumental.
It is. It's piano. I want to say, Stefan, when you look at my photos or you think of my photos, what does that look like in music in your mind? And I want to hear the composition.
It's going to be some weird like avant-garde shit.
I'm writing that down. Stefan Macchio piano. Stefan Macchio.
It could almost be like a mini forward for each separate 6 degree section.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And that's what I was really thinking. And I got Ryan Holiday. He's releasing a new book called The Daily Dad, I believe. something. I think you should get it.
I was going to say I should get that.
Well, I think I want to actually read it, even though I'm not. But he wrote it, and the way that he writes books, I love Ryan Holiday, as you guys know. The Daily Stoic, not the Daily Stoic, but the obstacle is the way. Courage is curiosity is courage, or whatever. All the other books that he wrote. What I like about how he writes, and he bases it based off of Stoicism. And I'm not saying I'm some Stoic that studies any of this stuff, but what I like about his books is he takes stories from the past. Marcus Aurelius. He takes stories from athletes, like how did Joe DiMaggio do this, or Lou Gehrig, right? Talks about his struggle, but how he goes through all of that, but then uses it in such a way that it makes sense to in your life. Now he's putting together a book, and I think it comes out this week, about being a father. And so he will find all of these things throughout history and bring them up and talk about what he feels is right for him when he's raising his children. And so I just think it's going to be interesting, or things to let go, right? I remember a story that there was this family we knew through baseball, and they had a bunch of kids. They had like 4 or 5 kids. And unfortunately, one of them got cancer at like 19 or 20 in college and ended up dying. But they were telling a story at the funeral about how one day this kid, the parents wanted something done, and he tried to do it by drawing on the walls and trying to do something. And yeah, it ruined it. And they came down and they were like, okay. And they didn't flip out, right? They didn't reprimand the kid. They accepted it. They figured out a way to make it so that they used it as a learning tool, right? And they didn't just flip out, like the time my brother fell down the stairs carrying a glass of Hawaiian Punch.
Oh, did you have white rugs too?
They were blue, then they turned red. So my brother and I, you know how my dad would react to something like that, flip out first. And so we had the fear in us about that stuff. And so we were no longer allowed to.
He never did it again.
Drink Hawaiian Punch. He just slipped down. There were only 2 or 3 stairs, and somehow
there's a big difference between doing it on purpose and an accident.
So what did we try to do? We had like a Hoover, for whatever reason, a Hoover wet vac for trying to suck up stains. So we went and tried to figure out how to use it, failed at doing it.
Oh, so were your parents not home?
No, we were watching ourselves. Oh. And so
Jared's the best at cleaning too.
Yeah, well, so we got to the point where we weren't going to figure it out. So when they came home, told them what happened. I mean, that's the best thing you can do. Don't try to hide it.
Sure.
You know, I don't remember what happened at that point. It was probably not. I mean,
did someone get murdered in this house on the stairs?
They probably weren't happy about it. But the best thing you could ever do is just accept it, own it, and just bring light of it. Because when you try to hide it,
not easy doing that as a kid, though.
No, it's not. But you do learn.
Looking back, you're like, oh, all I should have said was just I should have admitted it. You know,
but that's part of it with the parents. Like that's part of upbringing. How do your parents accept failure or mistakes?
Of course.
And it's one thing, like you just said, that if you did it on purpose, then it's a problem.
Yep.
If it's an accident, shit happens.
Exactly.
We learn from it. We figure out a solution behind it, and I hope if I have kids that I can figure out to be like that, right? And that I'm not too, just too over the top, right? Like that you just flip out, that you just accept things and be like, well, shit happens. So I've been trying to do that in my life at home. Like at my party, did I say anything to anybody about putting anything food related or cups on my 1959 surfboard table? No, I didn't. I didn't worry about it. If it gets scratched,
the worst is when you have coasters right on the table and nobody uses them.
Yeah, well, I don't have coasters, and I didn't worry about it. I put my feet up on this table because the table's meant to be used. Yep. And so trying to get that into my head that it pisses me off when my cat scratches my sofa. He can go fuck himself for doing that. That's unacceptable. You goddamn furry fuck. Anyway, back to the book. That's where my brain has been going, and I think Stephen, when I walk into my house at home, my whole first floor
is the book.
Is like 30 pages of the book.
Yep.
Because those are the musical stuff. The Bernie stuff won't be in there. The portraits I realize shouldn't be in there, but stories of my early days with concerts leading up to Foo Fighters and even some of the stuff that I've done now, like maybe the James Blunt stuff, maybe a couple of those shots.
Sure.
Those will lead into photo stories into another book. But I do think that the stories of me, and also there's probably there's going to be a lot of photos of me in there, because every time I saw a mirror for some reason on tour or in different areas, I've realized that I would take a picture of myself holding the camera, which was capturing the time of what I look like, what camera I was using. Sometimes I would do it where the artist was in the background or in the image as well, like Perry in a mirror while I'm taking a picture of myself in a mirror, like that. I've got some self-portraits, and I think all of that is my story, and I think it's important to be in there. And so that's what the book is going to be. I'll end up doing a Kickstarter again. I think the things that I will do different this time is we're going to figure out the gutter thing. We're going to try and figure that out better this time.
Well, hopefully back then, too, not everything was so symmetrical and centered, all of your photos, because a lot of the Bernie photos were perfectly centered.
Even back then, I was that good at getting my photos right.
So artistic.
In the center.
Let me get a nice center shot.
Get the lines perfect. But so we'll get that right. I still want them to be printed big. I'm a big fan of big prints, but sometimes I do like just one on a page. It depends on the size and the type of book that we do. But the problem is, if we do like the Pete Souza Obama book was a horizontal book with the spine down the left-hand side, which made verticals much more difficult because it was more of a wider angle book, right? And so I still want to keep my aspect ratios. There will be no cropping in the book, just like before.
Will there be text? Because that was my big thing about the Bernie book. I felt like there needed to be a lot more, because you need to tell the story. I don't want to listen to an audiobook.
Well, I do.
I think the audiobook's fine as an extra option for sure. But like, if I want to look at page 32, I'm going to have to then scrub through the audiobook to try and find where it is. And I don't know, it's just much more of a pain to have to be like, oh, let me log on my phone. I can't just simply open the book and relax out back.
If you recall, in the audiobook on YouTube, you can do 100 chapters.
Exactly,
right?
But you can't do them all.
You couldn't do them all, but you could jump to a specific page. I understand what you're saying. It depends. I like my audiobook. There's going to be the audiobook again. I'm not saying write a whole page, just a simple, quick, short paragraph about what this photo means to you and what was happening in the photo and that kind of stuff. I mean, so you get the best of both worlds. Well, that's one way to allow a print to be off-center, is if you do the text on the left or the right. It's going to allow the book to be, the center portion to not get lost. But I do not want a deep gutter regardless.
I agree, but you can format it a certain way. If this is your entire page, you could have just the text taking up just this small little portion on the left or right side, and then the photo taking up the rest. It doesn't have to be a normal, regular paragraph-looking formatted text. It could be very scrunched up, small, skinny on the spine or whatever it may be.
We'll figure it out. Yeah, we'll definitely figure it out. The other thing I want to do is anybody that bought the Bernie book with the slipcase was well worth it. I'm just going to do every book with a slipcase because, one, it protected it for shipping and had no issues, knock on wood, with bent corners because they're in a slipcase that's awesome. And I don't remember what that cost me extra, but I will just it will be one price.
It's a really nice presentation too.
It is a great presentation. And I was thinking, if I put Perry on the cover smoking, I don't know. So I don't know what the cover of the book is going to be. I love the Ben Folds giving the finger.
It's tough.
I love Perry smoking. But I was thinking about doing something with a lenticular image. For those that don't know what a lenticular image is, that's the one that used to be like baseball cards called Sport Flicks. But it's where if you look at it from the left or you move it a little bit, the image shifts and it changes. So if I did Perry smoking, I have a whole series of him smoking. That one picture is where he ended, but it could start with him inhaling or spitting it out. I don't know. I want to do something unique and interesting, but it's going to cost one thing. So there's going to only be a couple of options. One is going to be the book with the slipcase, no print. Just book and slipcase. The other is going to be a random print from the book. And I maybe will show the 10 images that it might be, but it's much more difficult to let people select the image because Kickstarter makes it very hard to know who gets what print. So I liked it being random myself personally, that it's going to be one of my classic ones.
Yeah, but if I was someone that was purchasing it, I don't know if I would want a random print. I think I would want something specific that I picked out.
Maybe.
If I'm paying for it.
Yeah. Or if I make it economical, that I sell more prints because I keep the price a little lower, but it adds an extra $25 to every sale. That might be better. I'm also going to add a golden ticket.
Oh.
to one of the books.
What's that mean? What are you going to get if you get the golden ticket?
A golden ticket.
That's it.
I'm thinking possibility of being flown into Philly.
Yeah, I was thinking like a day with
and
Jared.
spending a day. Like it's like Willy Wonka, right? You're coming to the factory.
Well, that's what I mean. You're coming to the factory, yeah.
We'll have a day set up. We'll have dinner set up. We'll do it better than I did with the other guy, which was
actually
the
have
last
it planned
minute
out.
Actually have it planned out to do stuff. That is something that I'd like to do. Yes, people who don't buy the book don't get access to this ticket. It is what it is. I'm not calling it a raffle because it's not. It's a Kickstarter reward. So that's part of it. It's one of the rewards.
I think that makes sense. Yeah.
Purchase the book. There is a chance that you might get the golden ticket, and there will be one golden ticket going out, and that will be a grand prize winner for something. So those are the options. You don't have to pay more for that. That's not anything you can pay to do. That's just part of the package. It's random. It's at random. So the golden ticket is something that I wanted to do, and that's what's going to happen, Stephen. That's what the book. I think I've
cool.
I got to go back and figure out.
I'm excited. Again, this is the book I've always wanted you to make because I've always been very impressed by some of the early concert work. With myself being a concert photographer from back in the day, I always liked the access that you had and the stories that you told me about how you took that specific photo or what moment that was or how early it was in that band's career. Like you were saying, like Maroon 5 backstage at a Leacore Center, you would never see that this day. You know, they're an arena band now.
Yeah. I just have to figure out what I'm okay with because I don't like just standalone images, but I've got a lot of really good standalone images at this point.
Yeah, I think you can easily do both. This could be you think it could be a bigger book than Bernie?
Don't know. No, I think it's all going to be about the same.
Okay,
but
it's
for
tough.
those who
Tough
are
to
always
pick out.
Well, for those who like the ending of the book where we had the basically contact sheet of every photo, which gave the date, time, and metadata for what camera was used.
Yeah.
Anything that I shot digital is going to have that again. If it was shot in film, I most likely know that it was done with Fuji 800. I may not know the exact lens or the camera, or obviously I won't know the settings that I shot. Yeah. But I'm still going to do that contact stuff at the back for the people that do like to know what the technical information was. So you'll get the best of both worlds. It's not about tech, but that is going to be in the book.
Cool. I'm excited.
Yeah, we've gone on for a while here, Stephen. I had notes for us to talk about the tipping thing. Should we save that for next week?
Yeah, let's save that for next week.
You want to save it?
Yeah. Because
I was pissed off about water. Ugh. I'll save it. I'll leave that in a note for next week.
Well, and I have to edit this tonight, and we have a ultrasound scheduled tonight, so I've got to leave here. I've got a hard out at around 4:30.
When are you due, Stephen?
August 26th.
How long's that?
We're about 4 months out, give or take.
Are you going to be taking time off?
Yes. 8 months.
8 months?
No.
You're going to take time. Am I going to take pictures? Oh, you're going to take pictures of your baby, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you don't have to ask me to take pictures of your baby.
No, I think I know how to do that.
You sure?
I hope. We'll find out. Now, actually, I do have a photo shoot scheduled with a local photographer. Her name, they go by Tiny Toes, and they're going to be taking the actual newborn photos. That is something I'm not super comfortable with. I've done it once before, and it was all right, but like it was a nightmare of a photo shoot, and I'd rather give it to someone that actually does that as their profession.
Will they be in the delivery room?
No. This will be 2 weeks after she is born.
All right, guys. You want to text us something? 313-710-9729. As Stephen always says, leave some feedback anywhere. You can give us 5 stars or leave comments on Photo News Fix or anywhere that you think we would see it. Most likely we will see it if you text us to 313-710-9729. Love to hear if you're offended. Love to hear it.
Anywhere that Dan will see it.
Oh, well, the best way to get Dan's attention is to leave a comment about Dan.
Yes, exactly.
Because if it's about Dan,
he will
he's
definitely
going to talk
back
about it
and say something.
All right, guys. This is episode, 49 of RAWtalk.
Almost a year.
49.
We're close.
Thank you guys very much for listening. Bye, Stephen.
Bye.
Jared, PolinFrontosPhoto.com. See ya.